A weird white line streaks across a dangerous conflict zone in the Western Sahara.
This big scar on the image, on the land, in the air. Not quite sure.
I've never seen anything like this before.
The image arouses concerns of terrorist activity.
This area has become a breeding ground and a hiding sanctuary for ISIS fighters and other radical terrorist groups.
December 2013. The Landsat 8 satellite captures an image of a strange white line stretching across the North African desert.
There's this big scar on the land, in the air. Not quite sure.
From looking at things in space, I know that very few things in nature form these really straight lines.
The photograph was taken above a dangerous conflict zone at the edge of the Sahara Desert in northwest Africa. For 2 decades, this arid land has been a battleground. Today, this whole region is at the front line in the war on terror.
Today, the Western Sahara is relatively ungoverned, and it has become a breeding ground and a hiding sanctuary for ISIS fighters and other radical terrorist groups.
The area's troubled history provokes concerns the white line could be a vapor trail from a missile launch. But it makes a sudden turn, something missiles can't do. Investigators explore other, more natural possibilities. Could the strange line in the desert be a rare cloud phenomenon? Wave clouds, also known as morning glory, can stretch in a line for 600 miles. They contain so much turbulent air they pose a threat to aircraft. But the cloud theory has a problem.
Sahara clouds do not last terribly long. The heat is so intense, the water is so limiting that a cloud in the Sahara just won't last. That tells us that it's probably not a cloud, because clouds would move, and this is not moving.
On closer examination of the image, analysts notice something odd about the line.
The line is so sharp, kind of on the lower right-hand side, and then it kind of blurs off to the other side, which tells us that maybe something's raising dust and the wind is blowing in that direction. Could this be a roadway, right, where there are lots of vehicles traveling, kicking up dust?
There is a 2,800-mile trans-Saharan highway, but it's located 1,000 miles to the east. Roads are not the only straight lines crossing the desert.
There is a train line in this part of the Sahara, the western area of the desert. So it's possible that the train line is responsible for what is a linear feature.
A massive 220-car train does cross this part of the desert, ferrying iron ore from mines to ships waiting on the Atlantic coast. But the railroad track is in neighboring Mauritania, 250 miles south of the line visible in the image.
Transportation infrastructure in the Western Sahara is really mostly limited to the large cities. Transportation through the desert is often by, live camels or four-wheel drive vehicles or something else.
So what could be moving across the desert? When analysts trace the line south, they discover that it ends at a place called Bu Kra, a huge phosphate mine.
Phosphate has many uses in modern society. The primary one is in manufacturing chemical fertilizers. It's also used to make other chemicals that contain the element phosphorus, ranging from explosives to pesticides.
Clearly, this white material is being brought to the coastline to be shipped away.
The clues seem to indicate the line in the image is part of some massive mineral transport system. But it looks nothing like any other phosphate processing facility in the world.
Phosphate is an ore, a rock, fundamentally, that's crushed for its phosphate. In more humid environments, phosphate is hydroblasted, so it's effectively mixed with water, and then you can pump it along a pipeline.
There's not enough water in the desert to pump the phosphate through a pipeline. And there's no road or railroad directly linking the mine to the coast. Something else has been built to transport the rock. Rare archive footage reveals exactly what it is.
The answer is to build a conveyor belt that's 60 miles long, transporting thousands of tons of phosphate per hour, all the way from a mine out to the ocean.
If it's exposed to the moving air, then some of that dust will be picked up, and that fits in really with the image because it shows the dust moving in one direction, probably carried by the wind.
The satellite image has captured the longest conveyor belt in the world.
It's amazing that something built by us puny humans can have enough of a visual effect to be visible from space.